In this video, I'll demonstrate how to add custom EC or IC values to your assay. EC and IC values are useful in many different assays, specifically in pharmacology. Whether you're calculating the EC or IC values will be dependent upon the type of assay. For example, you might calculate the EC50 value for a stimulatory assay or the IC50 value for an inhibitory assay. In these examples, the EC50 would correspond to a concentration that provides a half maximal response, and the IC50 value would correspond to the concentration that provides a 50% inhibition, measured by the binding or response being reduced by 1/2. There are two different ways to calculate the EC or IC values. One method is to use the C parameter of a 4PL or 5PL curve, which refers to the midpoint of the curve. The other method is useful if your y-axis reports a percentage. You can then use an evaluation to calculate the value of x when the percentage y equals the desired values. For example, we've calculated the IC value for this assay, and with a percentage on the y-axis, we can also set up evaluations to report the value of x at different y values, like the IC20 or IC80. In the first example, I'll demonstrate how to use the C parameter to identify the EC50 value. I have open a typical ELISA protocol that plots the concentration on the x-axis and the raw values or absorbance on the y-axis. In this case, to calculate the EC50 value, I'll open my Properties control and navigate to the XML tab. This functionality is currently only available using the XML tab, so this is considered to be an advanced topic. Now, I'll locate the standard curve fit element and add an evaluations element. The C parameter is the value on the x-axis of the midpoint of the curve. So for this evaluation, I'll use the type calc_y. This will evaluate the value on the y-axis at the midpoint of the curve. If you're interested in reporting the value of the C parameter on the x-axis, you could simply use an evaluations table reporting the C parameter. For more information about evaluations tables, please see the associated video. The expression will simply be C, and the description will be EC50. I'll name the evaluation EC50, and I'd like this to be plotted on the chart. So I'll add the plot attribute and enter true. Let's apply these changes and recalculate. Now on the report, you can see the addition of the EC50 value to our fit evaluations below the chart, and the EC50 value is also plotted on the curve chart. Again, if you don't want to plot the value on the chart, we could simply remove the plot element here. For the next example, I'll open a different protocol, the FT3 protocol, which plots the percent bound on the y-axis. I'd like to add evaluations that will report the EC20, 50, and 80 values for this curve. So again, we'll open the Properties control and navigate to the XML tab. I'll locate the standard curve fit and add an evaluations element. Next, I'll enter the individual evaluations. These will all be calc_x evaluations, meaning that I'd like to calculate the value of x at the specified y value. The expression for my first evaluation is 20, the description is EC20, and the name will also be EC20. Next, I'll add another evaluation that's configured in the same way, but in the expression, description, and name, I'll replace the 20s with 50s. I'll do the same thing for the EC80. I could add plot attributes to these evaluations or a subset of these evaluations if I'd like for them to be plotted, and in this case, I'd like to plot only the EC50. Let's apply the changes and press Calculate. On our report, below the standard curve chart, we can see a fit evaluations table that reports the values of our EC20, 50, and 80. You can also see the EC50 value plotted on the chart. You can easily change the values of these evaluations and report any EC or IC values necessary as long as your y-axis contains a percentage. If you have any questions about how to add or configure these evaluations, please email us at support@myassays.com.